From finally getting the first look at the stellar cast, to the movie literally being the key to Kang's future in the MCU, here's the MCU's Fantastic Four team revealed. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is all set to introduce the Fantastic Four, and we've caught a glimpse of John Krasinski's Reed Richards variant in the upcoming Doctor Strange sequel. But this time around, Marvel has plans for a full-fledged Fantastic Four team within the main MCU. According to a tweet from Insider at MyTimeToShineH, they've spilled the beans on 4 actors who could be a part of the movie. Keep in mind that this information isn't official yet, so let's take it with a grain of salt until Marvel or Disney make an official announcement. But these cast members align with some earlier reports. Who might be suiting up for the Fantastic Four? The images shared in the tweet include Adam Driver, Margot Robbie, Paul Mescal, and Daveed Diggs. It's worth noting that there have been rumors about these actors for a while now, and it seems they could potentially take on some iconic roles. Adam Driver is rumored to be in the running for Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, Margot Robbie for Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, Paul Mescal for Johnny Storm as Human Torch, and Daveed Diggs for Ben Grimm as The Thing. It's an interesting lineup, considering John Krasinski's connection to Adam Driver's character, and Margot Robbie's previous involvement in the DC film franchise as Harley Quinn. It's not surprising to see actors explore different comic book worlds, as the DC franchise heads in a new direction. It's not just a random add-on either. Fantastic Four will be a foundational part of the MCU. In an exclusive interview with Entertainment Weekly, Kevin Feige revealed some MCU projects that are in the works. The main one is the Fantastic Four. Feige revealed that the Fantastic Four will play a significant role in the future of the MCU. He compared their importance to the comics, where they've been a major pillar for decades. It's about time these iconic characters get the justice they deserve on the big screen, especially after the not-so-great Fantastic Four movies that came out earlier. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has revolved around the Avengers for quite some time, especially during the epic Infinity Saga that culminated in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. But here's the thing. Phase 4 of the MCU is breaking tradition by not having a crossover event with the Avengers. It might feel a bit disjointed, right? Well, you don't need to worry about that. That's because Feige's latest updates suggest that the Fantastic Four will step up to the plate. Although it's not to replace the Avengers, but to share the weight of future MCU stories. This can help set up Marvel's future. Remember John Krasinski's appearance as Reed Richards in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? Well, that established Mr. Fantastic as the smartest man alive, and a proud member of the Illuminati. It's like they're already weaving the threads of the Fantastic Four into the rich tapestry of the MCU. The Multiverse Saga's big baddie, Kang the Conqueror, just so happens to be a descendant of Richard's father. With that kind of tie-in, you just know the Fantastic Four will play a crucial role in defeating this time-traveling villain. But that's not all. The Fantastic Four can open the doors to some mind-blowing storylines in the future of the franchise. Imagine villains like Doctor Doom, Galactus, and Annihilus coming into play. In Marvel Comics, these massive-scale threats are naturally linked to the Fantastic Four. So when the team finally debuts in 2025, they'll probably be setting the stage for years of exciting MCU stories. So they're not just here for a one-off. What's really cool is that the Fantastic Four are more than capable of taking on Avengers-level threats all by themselves. They're a powerhouse team with some pretty unique abilities, which is why the MCU needs them. Let's take a trip down memory lane to 1961, when the Fantastic Four made their debut in Marvel Comics' Fantastic Four #1, created by the legendary duo Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. They were actually called Marvel's first family. It's a bit of a shame that previous live-action adaptations haven't quite captured the magic of this iconic team, especially considering they are some of Marvel's oldest characters. But now that Marvel Studios has the rights back in their hands, the Fantastic Four can finally shine in the MCU, joining a world already filled with extraordinary superheroes. They're bringing along some of Marvel's most memorable villains too. As we look ahead, it's clear that the Guardians of the Galaxy experienced some major changes in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And the Avengers won't be assembling again until Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. That's why the MCU is in dire need of fresh superhero teams to tackle the big challenges that lie ahead. Who better than the Fantastic Four to step up to the plate? The Marvel Cinematic Universe has come a long way since its early days. Back then, characters like Iron Man took center stage, even though they weren't as well known as the Fantastic Four, X-Men, or even Spider-Man. But they made a splash and paved the way for what we have today. The MCU was built on these lesser-known heroes, and it became a massive success. But times have changed since then, with Avengers Endgame marking the end of an era and characters like Iron Man and Black Widow leaving us. The expectations for the post-Endgame MCU are sky high. We've got superhero movies and TV shows popping up left, right, and center, from both Marvel and DC, which just makes it harder for each release to truly stand out. The original Avengers lineup, the cornerstone of the MCU, is no longer there. Iron Man, Black Widow, and Captain America have moved on. The Hulk, well, he's taken a different path too. Sure, there are still plenty of Marvel characters waiting to make their live-action debuts or step up in Avengers stories. But let's be real here. Having major superheroes like Spider-Man or the X-Men in your franchise can give it a major box office boost. Just look at Spider-Man No Way Home, the highest-grossing film in the MCU since Endgame. People went crazy for that Spider-Man Legacy crossover. Let's consider Marvel's recent movie releases and the impact of the pandemic. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness did better than its predecessor at the box office, but it didn't cross that coveted billion-dollar mark like No Way Home did. Thor: Love and Thunder and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever didn't outperform their respective predecessors either. And Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania faced some struggles with a not-so-great second weekend drop. Given all this, it becomes clear that bringing the X-Men and the Fantastic Four into the MCU is more crucial than ever. These superhero powerhouses have the potential to be real box office titans and inject new life into the franchise. With the ever-growing competition and the high expectations post-Endgame, Marvel needs all the big guns it can muster to keep the fans engaged and the box office booming. The Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars will only really work if Fantastic Four actually ends up being successful. The Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, and Avengers Secret Wars are being looked at as Marvel's best shot at surpassing the scale, and maybe even the box office success of Avengers Endgame. The success of these epic movies might just hinge on the presence of the Fantastic Four. They're not only crucial to the story, but they also raise the stakes and amp up our expectations for the grand conclusion of the multiverse saga. We don't have a ton of details about the exact plots of the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars just yet, but one thing's for sure. Fantastic Four is set to premiere in Phase 6 of the MCU, right before Avengers 5 hits the big screen. That's no coincidence. The Fantastic Four and the concept of the multiverse go hand in hand. It's hard to imagine a Kang-focused story, or an adaptation of Secret Wars without Marvel's first family stepping into the picture. Speaking of Kang the Conqueror, did you know that his first appearance in Marvel Comics actually happened in a Fantastic Four comic? Yep, back then he was known as Rama-Tut. Turns out, the origins of Kang are intricately linked to none other than Doctor Doom and Reed Richards himself. It's like a web of connections that can't be ignored. So naturally, the Fantastic Four are expected to play a pivotal role in everything related to Kang's future in the MCU, especially considering that Rama-Tut showed up at the Council of Kangs in Quantumania. There you have it. From the movie literally being the key to Kang's future in the MCU, to finally getting the first look at the insane cast, this was MCU's Fantastic Four team revealed.